Okay, Jillian, we're going to take a look at your week 6 assignment 1. Um, the scan or the photo, it definitely could be better in a few areas. I feel like we're losing a little bit of the punch of color that's probably on the actual page. It feels a little kind of washed out, a little muted. There were definite kind of distortion issues. Let's see if I can show you what it was before, where it feels really askew, and then there is the kind of color cast that's in place. So that's kind of a shame. I think the one benefit is that it does feel very kind of crisp to me. It's very easy to see the details, which I think is important in this drawing especially, because of all the things that are very pattern oriented. The headboard, the pattern on the bed, even the chandelier and the windows, there's just a lot of pattern going on. So being able to see those, I think, is a huge benefit to the viewer. And even a little bit of a loss of focus, and a lot of these patterns just wouldn't come out as effectively as they do. So I think that's definitely one of the better parts of it. I think that also ends up just kind of being the main draw of this environment, is kind of all these colors and all these patterns that are occurring within the space. And I think that color-wise and kind of detail-wise, when it comes to the patterns, it really excels. The color integration, very diverse, but it still feels like it unifies together. Colors repeat themselves: reds in the curtains, reds in the beds, red in the chandelier, blues in the walls and on the windows. And so even though there's a lot of different things going on, they don't feel like they're just kind of thrown on there, which I think can very easily happen. And so that, to me, I think is one of the biggest strengths that are occurring within this drawing. I think some other things like texture, when it's not kind of the pattern, like the floor, like the curtains, maybe don't work out quite as effectively. I think the wood is working out effectively when you're not layering the gray on top of it, but once the gray kind of goes on top of it, the gray feels a little bit uneven, whether it's due to the fact that it's kind of accentuating the kind of marker work of the brown, or if just the gray is a little bit more unevenly applied. But it tends to kind of make things a little bit overly mark. It feels like there's too much mark making occurring. We see it in the shadow of the curtain here, and we definitely see it on the bottom right hand side. I think we still run into that issue as well, of the very dark kind of wood floor really kind of meshing into the tables still. I think it ends up being just because of the value. The darkness of the wood is very similar, and we're seeing a lot of kind of blacks that are similar to the coloring of the nightstands on the sides of the bed. So there is just a small amount of kind of, for me, confusion as I kind of start down here and I move up into the nightstand, and they tend to blend together a little bit much. And I think the curtains, I think just trying to bring out a little bit more of the shadow and the highlight could be made, as well as just a kind of maybe a little bit more kind of being done to get a little more form to it, to make it feel a little bit more three-dimensional. I think it's starting to feel just a little bit flat in a few areas, and I think some shadow could help with that, as well as some highlights in the areas that are kind of closest to the windows. But it is definitely a great showing in a lot of areas, not just color, but technique-wise. There's some very good use of the marker in covering large areas. I think the wood, when it doesn't have kind of the shadow, is being really nicely rendered with the way that the stroke is following in line with the panels. And then definitely just in terms of sheer control, it's an excellent job with all the pattern work that's being done, and being able to use the marker that effectively, I think, is a great way to show off your skills for the end of class.